A very, very warm welcome to everyone. Good afternoon. Thank you for taking the time to join us today. I'm your host and speaker, Parul Seth. I take care of learning solutions at Auto Training. Well, about Auto Trainings, Auto Training is a corporate learning marketplace that connects businesses with their learning and development needs with L&D service partners and automates the training procurement. Due to our constant involvement with learning and development professional, we realized how women are leading and influencing knowledge-driven workforce. Now, to back this up with some data, I would like to share that it's 58% of training managers in organizations are women when compared to 40% presence in other domains. Learning and development looks like a field where women are leading confidently. I'm certain it's not that women are doing less in other areas. There are excellent women professionals and leaders in almost all fields. However, this is one of the fields where the percentage of women is higher. Why this field is more appealing for women? And to understand more about this, to explore and contemplate on the roles, responsibilities, struggles, and trumps of women in the L&D segment, with us, with a topic of discussion celebrating leading women in the L&D space, powered by Sirona Hygiene. With us, we have four guests who have excelled in the L&D and people management. Let me introduce you all to our interesting and inspiring uh, team. So, a very, very warm welcome to our team of panelists. Our first panelist is Mridula Shankayan. Mridula is a Chief Executive Officer at Global Talent Track. She's a certified ILM practitioner and leadership coach. She's also a member of industry forums like NASCOM, HRD Network. She has designed and led people strategies for organizations like Goldman Sachs, Flipkart, Lehman Brothers, and Nomura. With us, our second panelist is Preeta Dubey. Preeta is a Marshall Goldsmith certified leadership coach and founder of Success Vitamin. She is a successful consultant on Salesforce effectiveness and is regularly contracted by the World Bank Group. She's also been awarded as a Best Sales Coach 2020 by ET Now. With us, our next panelist is Niladri Chakrabarti. He's a director of people and culture with the Better India. He has led various interventions on people strategies and HR operations to positively impact the triple bottom line of organizations. And our fourth panelist is Gulshan Walia. Gulshan is a Marshall Goldsmith certified leadership coach and HR consultant in the domain of strategic HR, L&D, and OD. Some of the organizations where she has led HR transformations are Siemens, EMC, Biocon, Shobha Developers, and many more. Thank you. Thank you so much for taking your time today. We know how busy you all are with your schedule. It really means a lot to us. Now, for our attendees, I have an announcement. We will be giving Amazon vouchers to our best three audience questions. Name of the winners will be declared at the end of the event. So please listen to the discussion carefully and type your questions as comments. I'll bring them during the presentation. We will also have time for questions at the end. Now, without any further delay, let's get started. My very first question here is, what is the secret sauce about women leading the learning and education domain, be it in education sector or corporate training? What is there for women? So, what are your thoughts on this, Pritha? No worries. Meanwhile, I'd like to hear it from you, Mridula. What are your thoughts? Why do you think women are leading in the learning in education domain?
Hi. First of all, good afternoon, everyone. Are you able to hear me, Parul?
Yes,
Okay,
yes,
great.
Mridula.
So, when I looked at this particular question as you asked, Parul, I have been thinking and racking my brains, and I have a slightly different answer. Um, in terms of leading the L&D field, whether it's women, men, I don't want to say that women are leading this field or they are not. I have seen equally good women as well as men who are in this particular field. And having been this in the area of learning and OD, I've seen amazing men as well as amazing women, come up in this particular field and really, really build their careers and impact the nature of work that we do in the talent management and talent development space. So, but in terms of how does this naturally come to women, if that is the question, then I would say that a lot of times in my career, as I was leading L&D functions, women often there were a larger number of women in organizations. And I'll share with you one of the stories that I had in one particular organization where when I joined them, 80% of learning and development team was all women. And I
Mm-hmm,
realized there were different kinds of pressures that we were facing. We were doing a good job, but a lot of
mm-hmm,
time I was spending coaching and guiding my team of women in terms
mm-hmm,
of their own personal struggles that they were facing, the challenges that they were facing, the either overconfidence or lack of confidence that they were facing, and there was a lot of self doubt also that was emerging. So, over a period of time, I realized that I think some of these issues are happening because the team is not diverse enough. And I very consciously started to build a more diverse team in that organization. It took me about a year to really get more men in the team and then have a more balanced team, more diverse team. And as
mm-hmm,
I built that whole team together, it became so much richer in the way the dialogues were happening. The
mm-hmm,
focus of conversation changed, became much more, I would say, much more innovative because now we were getting both sides of the story, the men's perspective as well as the women's perspective. And then talent development felt more complete. So,
mm-hmm,
so I think a lot of times, so I feel like there is a huge, uh, secret sauce of having diverse teams rather than just women leading these careers. And I have oftentimes seen that if it is just diverse, either all men or all women, then it is not as effective as if was a diverse team. The
mm-hmm,
other thing also is that there are three types of trainers or facilitators or L&D professionals. One who are in it because
mm-hmm,
it's absolutely their passion and they want to make a difference in people's lives and they want to
mm-hmm,
contribute. And I would call them really facilitators who are there to make an impact, and they are less of talkers, more of listeners, more of facilitators, making things happen for the other person and making their stories come out and create realizations for them. The
all
other
right.
breed of facilitators or trainers are performers who get up on stage and they love what they are doing. They get tremendous accolades and they love this entire piece about giving the world like maybe a motivational speaker or a stage performer. And in that, they build their own presence, but the impact on the audience may be limited. And then there are third type of category that is very, very interesting. And oftentimes when I was heading L&D, there were people from operations who wanted to come into the learning field and they wanted to become trainers or HR professionals. And sometimes I would ask them, why is it that you are wanting to come into this field? And they would say, maybe it is, operations is very hectic and I'm not able to balance work and home. And therefore, I would want to come in. And I would tell them, look, think again, because it's not as easy in L&D field as well. Life will be extremely hectic. And when they came in, they realized, oh my God, this is so tough. I was better off in operations. So,
All right.
yeah, how people choose their careers and is it just a field dominated by women? I don't think so. And I will leave it at that. People who are really passionate come in this field and then they create an impact.
So to do decode this, I would like to understand a different perspective here. Is there, Preeta, would you like to share your thoughts on this as well?
Yes, and I hope I am audible right now.
Yes, you are.
Thank you for the patience.
Yes, you are.
My Wi-Fi just knocked me out of the entire system. I kind of agree with Mridula because this is a field, and if somebody asks that what is the secret sauce, then the secret sauce is extreme passion for learning and development. That is the secret sauce. Because during my tenure in the learning and development space that I have been now, it's almost close to 10 years that I am in this field. I have been traveling non-stop. It's just the pandemic that has finally put some brakes, and I have been now training from home. But even there, uh, the training starts from the morning, and it continues. The work continues till 9 o'clock, because now with us getting into this hybrid mode, we are also doing a lot of online training, or there's a lot of online work happening. So it has become global. The entire customer base has now
Mhm.
become global. And now, when it is global, you're also taking care of the time zones. So you need to have extreme passion to be able to handle and balance time here, because there's a lot of travel. You probably would have to, I still remember I would come back home after finishing a training program at say at midnight, some 1 o'clock, and next day morning at 7 o'clock, I'm again left for another location to do another training.
Right.
So the question
Uh,
is,
I'm
if
able
you
to.
are willing
Yes.
to do that, if there is a strong passion, then only you'll be willing to do that. So the secret sauce is passion. And all those who have a real passion for learning and
Mhm.
development, for adding value, for transforming people, they can really achieve great success here, whether irrespective of the gender, is what I feel.
Uh, I would like to, decode it further and have a different question here. When it comes to the education segment, is the representation uniform in the corporate L&D space? Is the percentage of women
That is
more?
all from my side, Parul.
I think I can hear lag in the voice, uh, but it's okay. Um, so, is the percentage of women more in the behavioral skills than the technical skills? And what are your thoughts here, Gulshan?
So, when you sent me the questions yesterday, I did go through Google and look at what it says in terms of percentage of women. So, the education sector was by the total education sector, which includes schools, colleges, and the corporate L&D, did show a higher percentage of women, significantly higher. I think it was about 65, 70 or something,
Mhm.
compared to the men in these domains. And there's a lot of stuff that I agree with Mridula, uh, that it's not necessarily just women who
Mhm.
succeed in L&D or education. There are lots and lots of men who are excellent coaches. Marshall Goldsmith, the number one coach in the world, uh, Tony Robbins. So these people are there, and then and there of course there are brilliant women also in the field. So the two reasons there I think is the appeal of the education sector, including L&D, helping someone, developing someone, is a natural part of the feminine psychology. So for women, nurturing, even in healthcare, that's the other sector that I checked up. Healthcare, including doctors and nurses, largely women, because the appeal of a nurturing, caretaking, helping someone become better, that comes a little more naturally to women. So at overall statistical levels, you will find that the percentage of women in these fields will be slightly or maybe even more higher than the men in these fields. And the second thing I relate to is the second reason is the inner masculine and the inner feminine, which is the yin yang. Yin is feminine, yang is masculine energy. And all of us have, whether you're a man or a woman, you have both. You have the masculine and the feminine within you. And for men in the L&D space, what I have clearly noticed that their inner feminine is very well developed. So even in terms of, I looked up some research in terms of emotional intelligence. So what it said was that apparently the entire emotional intelligence, there isn't a significant difference between men and women, but certain competencies, empathy, compassion, interpersonal skills, social skills, women overall ranked higher than men. But in an individual case level, I very clearly see that men who make great L&D people have a very, very well developed feminine, inner feminine, which can listen, which can empathize, which can nurture, which can and it appeals to them. Such jobs appeal to them. I have absolutely noticed this in my career. A lot of L&D folks and will have their inner feminine. Men will have their inner feminine well developed. So the secret sauce, if we were to go back to the same question, secret sauce is not just for women, secret sauce for everybody who loves to learn for themselves, first of all. An absolute passion for excellence and improving every day, becoming better every day. First, they have to have that strong passion which Prita spoke about.
All
Then,
right.
of course, right, yeah, go ahead. So that's what I wanted to say on that.
So I want to take your perspective here, Niladri. You come from a technical background. How many girls in your college were in the technical domain? They were studying with you for the technical subject.
See, the representation for girls, if you ask me, even in my college days, has been majorly into technical field. A lot of them were, uh, kind of preparing for getting into software companies, and that's what the mindset always has been. Now, when it comes to in a corporate environment, I wouldn't say things have drastically changed, but I would say that it's slowly changing. And obviously, the representation of women in L&D industry has been on a greater size than men. Partly for the reason being, what I feel is learning and development is quite an extensive subject. You need to kind of drill down and understand the existing competencies of your workforce, and then kind of create learning and development modules based on what is the need of the hour. And somewhere down the lane, I feel women are able to do it in a much more process oriented way. That doesn't mean that men cannot do it. I'm not saying that, but I somewhere down the line I feel that women think in a much more structured way, and that helps create really good kind of learning and development modules. And that's why I would think that there is a larger part of representation when it comes to the learning and development department for women.
All right. So, how can we boost women's representation in other domains like technology or manufacturing or other segments for that matter, more than the L&D domain? Uh, let's hear from Mridula.
Hi. So this is my favorite question, and the reason it is my favorite question is because last couple of years, very extensively at GDT, we have been working to build careers of women in the STEM, area: science, technology, engineering, and math. We have, GTT is a skills development program that runs corporate. One of the things that we do is quite extensively is run campus to corporate programs where we train final year college graduates into careers and how to, crack a job interview, give them domain skills like technology skills, technical skills, AI, various languages, Python, Java, etc. But at the same time, also communication and behavioral skills for them to start their careers with strength. We also do finance domain trainings. Now, in just the last 1 year, we trained almost close to 1,30,000 students, and almost close to 40,000 found placements through GTT. And in that, most of our clients expect that we have a larger representation of women in the engineering streams. So that really motivated us to actually have almost 60% of these people were women who got trained and placed into these careers. So it is a moment of great pride for us, and we continue to do this in partnership with our clients who are also constantly wanting women to take up technology careers. Uh, but one of the things that, I go back a few years, I remember there was one technologist, a woman who was part of our team, and I was doing some career counseling for her. And she said, look, I said, look, you have such great application development skills, software skills. You should really become a technical expert and build your career in this domain, which will be really good for your long term career. And we want to see more women represented in technology. So after some time, she came back and said, look, I've been doing this. I'm really good at it, but I just get so bored sitting in front of the computer. I want a job where I can interact with people. And it goes back to the previous panelists' point about, women's nature of being nurturing, wanting to interact, being more social, helps them to take up jobs which are more around customer service oriented or service oriented roles or training, or engaging with clients kind of roles. But increasingly today, women are taking STEM careers. Just yesterday, I was at Women's College in Osmania University, and we were addressing a group of about 100 women who were looking to build careers. And before that, we had done a little survey with them, couple of colleges actually, Jagran College in Kanpur also. And when we talk to them, what is it that you would like to do in terms of help to build your career forward? A lot of them said, we want to learn technical languages, like train us into Java, Python. We want to build careers in that. So I think increasingly organizations like ours are, there are a lot of organizations that are providing these STEM career trainings. And there are women who are increasingly now coming up in this field as well.
Very well. I'd like to take a second opinion on this. Let's hear it from Niladri. Niladri, according to you, how we can improve women representation in other domains as well?
So I see that there's a twofold kind of impact what we need to have. One is, there's a lot of changes which are also needed in the thought process of the employers. uh, Most of the jobs which we have that kind of feeling still with a lot of employers. I mean, we are moving to a very gender diverse workforce nowadays, but still there are employers who believe the fact that men can do better job than women, which is not the case at all in this industry. My own mother has been kind of working since the past 35 years, so I know for a fact that women can do equally or even better job than men can. So that the change in the thought process needs to be there for more opportunities to be made available. At least at a level where people are accepting women candidates and onboarding them as full-time employees. If your hiring manager, if the person who's actually making the decision to kind of onboard people on your in your organization hasn't have that thought process, and even has like 1% thought that men can do a better job for the particular role, then the decisions would always be skewed up, and we will see a lot less representation. This is one part from the part of the employer. From the employee's perspective, I feel women also need to be kind of more consistent and smash that bias which is going around, that women cannot take up a lot of labor intensive job, or a woman can't do better than men in terms of, say, engineering field or any other field which has been kind of biased to be men centric. So women have to kind of come around. I know it's a lot to ask, especially because we have kind of, especially in a country like India, we have kind of a specific mindset where still men are wanted to kind of be engineers and doctors, and women, just after they complete their initial level of education, still in the rural areas, you would find that they are often wanted to be, got married and kind of lead life at their husband's house. So it's a lot of effort which kind of needs to go, a lot of independence which even families need to allow women to kind of go and take up career choices which they want to make. And then representation should happen at all the levels. It's not only at a level of the employer, but even even at the family level, even at their own individual level, they should be kind of passionate enough to make a difference in any of the fields they're working for, irrespective of
Hmm.
it being, say, male driven or more labor intensive. So it's going to be a twofold effect. And plus, the uh, biggest I feel advantage which India can kind of leverage into giving women opportunities, the government should actively take up steps to improve more gender diverse laws, where both men and women get equal representation, irrespective of the kind of jobs they are applying for. So I feel these three kind of factors will representation other
Great. Thanks a lot for this conversation forward. For our audience, I would like to remind you, please ask questions from our panelists. Don't forget yours are Q&A and Amazon voucher. Coming back to women's strength in L&D, I have a question for you, Pritha. Do you think participants respond better to women trainers, or do they feel comfortable sharing or opening up to women trainers?
Okay, may I have to repeat your question? Just
I'm sorry, Parul, can you please repeat your question? Your voice was breaking a lot. I don't know
Your
if that's
voice
a
is
community
Little
breaking.
problem.
lag here, Pritha.
Who's the question for? Can you type out in chat?
All right.
Because
So I
I
was
can't
asking
make
the
up.
question to Pritha. But I'll
Okay.
repeat. Do you think participants respond
But
better to women
there's a lot
trainers?
of lag. The voice is breaking.
Right. With that
no,
question, uh, Vishnu, why don't you share your thoughts on this? Do you think women participants respond better to women trainers? Do they feel
okay. Am I
comfortable
audible?
sharing
Just
responses or opening to women trainers?
okay. Question, am I audible to you? Is there a lag? Am I clear? Could you just let me with a thumbs up or something if I'm audible to you? No?
Sorry, there seems to be a
Lot of
little
lag.
technical snack here.
Okay.
Let me continue, Pritha, with more questions. Let me take this conversation forward. I hope, Bhushan, you're able to follow me. You're able to hear me.
Yes, I could. Can you hear me? Is there a lag when you hear me?
No,
Yes,
there's no lag. So
can barely
I'll
hear
No
you
lag.
ask this
actually.
Okay.
question to you. Um, do you think
Okay.
participants respond better to women trainers? What are your thoughts onto this? Do you think is it
I
natural
don't
for?
think so.
Mhm.
I don't think so. I think participants respond. How do participants respond to competent versus incompetent trainers? Probably that's what I would look at. Whether you're a woman or a man doesn't really make a difference. At the most, what I have experienced is, because there is a large percentage of women, of men in your audience typically, because men are working in offices more. At the most, somebody might give you a little bit of extra attention. That is the only thing that's going to happen. So nothing more than that. Your competence is far more valued, whether you're a woman or a man, and audiences are extremely smart. So they will throw difficult, tough questions to you and want to check out your competence. How well did you answer it? How well did you handle it? So clearly, it is the competence of the trainer that is the most important factor for the audience, for the participants in the trainings.
All right. Uh, let's take another opinion here. Mridula, what are your thoughts onto this? Not able to hear you,
You're
Mridula.
muted.
Hi, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm just thinking and wondering, why are we even asking this question? Because I completely agree with her point of view that it is the competence, that matters. How you connect with your audience, whatever you are saying, does that make sense? Does that resonate? As a facilitator or a trainer, have you done your homework? Have you understood your content, your audience? Have you been able to create impact and aha moments for your clients? And that could be done by a man or a woman equally. So I don't think there is any uh, no stereotyping here that we should do about men versus women. It is more about your ability to connect with the audience, your ability to drive home the objective of the program, and that is to do with competence.
Very well. Uh, so I have received a very good question here from our audience. Most women at some point in their career struggles to be in a leadership role. Some of these reasons are self-imposed. What are some of these challenges? I'll request Midula to share your thoughts on this.
Yeah, this is my favorite question actually of the day. One of the things that we recently did was, this is still Women's Month is going on, and as you know, the International Women's Day theme is break the bias. And I was thinking about what is the bias that we want to address that resonates with women and then can help them forward their careers. And we chose authoritarian bias in the way that women have been brought up. It's changing very rapidly, and now the younger generation is far more different. But I'm talking about 20 years back when women were starting their careers. There was the way that we have been brought up, the cultural impact, upbringing impact was with authoritarian bias actually impacted women a lot. Am I listening to somebody who's a father figure or a teacher or somebody who's more of an expert? I would defer to their opinion and I would consider their opinion to be the right opinion, even though I might have a differing point of view. So my ability to speak up was not there if I thought I was in front of an authority figure. We like don't speak in front of elders or don't question them, kind of things that at least in my day and age we were brought up with. So recently there is a circle that we created called the Winning Circles, and it is a community of women who come together, and there is mentoring and internships and various kinds of trainings provided to this group. But more importantly, this we ran this 5-month campaign of how to challenge authoritarian bias around 3 different themes. And this is really helps in going back to your question, Parul, on what are the challenges women face and how should they break the bias. So the first thing that we have to start with is believing in yourself. I strongly believe women oftentimes second guess themselves. They are saying something but so tentatively that if somebody questions them on that, they will give in very, very quickly. So are you believing in yourself? Are you believing in your competence? Are you believing in what you're saying? And are you standing by what you're saying? So that believe in yourself is extremely important. From there, then we come to the second part where you speak your own truth, right? Be authentic, speak your own truth. Don't say things to please other people. Oftentimes we get into the trap of being a people pleaser, and we put our own intent, our own aspirations on the side burner, trying to be the nurturing person and taking care of everybody else. We tend to forget what is it that we want, what is our aspiration. And this second theme really focused on how should we speak our own truth and speak our own mind and give ourselves certain amount of self-respect and self-care. And then the third piece, which is very critical, and I have had many experiences of that the hard way in my life, is say no when no is due. Oftentimes we don't say no, even though we want to say no, because for whatever reasons, the other person will feel bad, I will lose this relationship, I will miss out something, the FOMO. So oftentimes women don't say no when they have to say no. And these three things are so important. And if we follow these three things, then I think women have a lot of opportunity and pathway to be able to break the glass ceiling or uh, you know up, grow into their careers at senior levels. So this is my personal experience in all of these areas, and I'll just leave it to you, Parul, to see if you agree, disagree, and what's your thought. Would love to hear from you.
All right. I'm learning from you, Mridula. I think this is valuable input that you've shared. Yes, being a young mother, I would say that even I go through these kind of dilemmas at times. And specifically, this is what at times during a day brings me down, that am I doing enough for my daughter or am I not? And probably these are the kind of dilemmas that many women do go through. How do they ensure that they're able to balance up the work and the family and all the other requirements? And yes, at times we do put our own aspirations behind because of ensuring that everyone else is happy. And I take that opinion. uh, I would want to hear from you, Gulshan. Would you like to share with us some of your career struggles related to this dilemma, and how did you deal with it?
So it's very interesting. I do regard myself as a very assertive person, and I will speak my mind when it needs to be spoken. Of course, there are times that I let go in the overall better interest for the larger good. So I have had trouble with authority figures, with bosses, uh, you know, all throughout my career, and especially in a leadership position, because I didn't have any self doubt, but I did have trouble with authority. So the point is, you really have to, now coming to the point where you said the work family balance, somewhere along the line, uh, work life balance is each woman's individual decision, really. So she has to decide for herself what makes her happy and what is important for the family. So for me, what I realized clearly was that I wanted to work. Someone like me will be extremely unfulfilled doing nothing. So I continued to work with have small children. I used all support systems available for me, which were largely the baby play schools or the creches. I used those, and that I think is very important. The only rule I had is that I didn't work beyond 5. Now that comes to that is used by a lot of employers. I mean, I had comments thrown at me like, "Madam, to 5 baje uth ke chali jati hain." So you will have to bear that. You have to pay a price for that. There are promotions that you will have to sacrifice. So there's just this thing about she can't stay late, she can't work harder. But the truth actually is, a lot of working mothers do not want anyone to tell them that they are not working hard. They will work doubly hard. So I would finish off my work, every single thing, very diligently by 4 actually, and nothing would be pending on my to-do list. Still, if somebody has to throw it at you, they will throw it at you. I was once told by one of my managers, you need to figure out this crash thing. It was just once that I had to leave at 3 because my son was unwell. It hurt me to the core. And then there was a very, very senior leader in the leadership team. When I was speaking about work-life balance, he said, what the hell is work-life balance? No, this is nonsense. None of that. Let them stay late, let them this thing. So all there is, while there are a lot of changes now, but there is also a lot of lip service given to work-life balance. And in reality, a lot of some leaders will not help you with that. But what I know is that I was happy fulfilling my intellectual desires to work. I was okay with leaving at 5 and paying the price for that, and I was comfortable with it. So what I would recommend to women is, um, choose, make your own decision. There are women who are highly educated. I've there are couples, and both of them have graduated from an engineering college or an MBA college, and the wife, after having children, chooses to give up her job. So it is not out of any pressure. She is making the choice that she wants to enjoy her children, she wants to be with their children, and that's okay because it's her decision. Another woman makes a choice that she wants to work and she wants to enjoy her family, and so she designs her support systems and everything around that. So obviously, and the other thing is that the work life balance, I think, is a very important concept if you want to attract more women, especially in the leadership roles. So the stress is far higher in leadership roles. So work life balance becomes more difficult as you rise up in the organization for women. So, but the only thing that comes to your rescue is, most probably by the time you're in a leadership role, your children may be old, a little older, not so young, but then there are women choosing to have children later on. So the bottom line is, every woman needs to make that choice for herself, for her fulfillment.
Very well. Thank you. Thank you for sharing this with us, Gulshan. Um, moving on to my next question. And I have a very interesting question, I would start to say. Are women more assertive than men? Considering the fact that women at times do multitasking, they are managing multiple portfolios parallelly. Does that make, or rather, because of this, or even without that, are women more assertive than men? Uh, do you think, Pritha, women are able to articulate and communicate their issues, priorities in a correct way?
In fact, no one is, for that matter, either irrespective of men or women. Assertiveness is a skill, is a competency, and each one of us needs to learn it. And also, it depends where I need to be assertive and where I need not be assertive. Sometimes, many people, and I will say that because I come from sales, and we've been talking about representation and low representation. Now that is one function, sales, where there is the lowest representation ever of women there. And also, when we're talking about when women get to the leadership position, then comes a lot of these limiting beliefs and a lot of these innate inner challenges that women start facing. And that is where now the assertiveness, that should I be able to speak assertively in my place, when I have seen women as sales leaders, I have suddenly seen them turn very aggressive. And somewhere people, I feel, that do not understand the difference between being assertive and being aggressive. So I strongly feel that assertiveness is something that needs to be understood. Many people have a very misperception about what is being assertive. Is like talking just firmly being assertive, is showing, is shouting at people, and and saying my mind openly, without bothering about your emotions. Is that assertive? So assertiveness is something that everybody needs to learn. um, I may feel that being a mother, because most of the women who are mothers, they have been assertive with their children, and somewhere I feel they know that how to be assertive. But when it comes to the professional world, there are some fear which is with every gender. Again, there are a few fears that pulls people back in terms of presenting your own mind, sharing your opinion, placing your opinion. And that is where I feel that this is one aspect that everyone needs to learn. So I don't know, I haven't come across such people. I've come across both from in both genders, people who are very very well assertive people, and I have also come across people who cannot, who just can't be assertive. They are either aggressive or they are passive, but they can't be assertive. So yeah, my thought is it is something that people need to develop within.
Very well. Uh, let's take a second opinion on this. Niladri, what are your thoughts?
Sorry, can you hear me?
Yes, yes,
Yeah. So the question is, do you think women are able to articulate and communicate this? That's the question, right?
yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think this is kind of a gender specific issue. I strongly feel that women are equally able to, articulate and communicate their issues and priorities just like men do. Agreed to a certain extent that there are certain delimiting factors on a very personal level which affect both men and women. But I don't see, I mean, I have worked with a lot of women leaders, even my present leader who I'm working with is a woman, and I have worked with like really good women leaders so far in all the previous four organizations I've worked so far. Articulation and communication is something which is very related to kind of how better you are able to understand what you want to say. So if somebody is not able to do that, I would specifically not kind of make it more gender specific, but more to do on a very personal level. So yeah, I feel that they are able to articulate and communicate equally as equal as men do.
All right.
Uh,
Uh,
Parul, could I just add something to this?
yes, please, please,
Okay.
Mridula.
I just feel when we talk about assertiveness, right? The same person can be assertive in certain situations and given in another situations, or be passive, or maybe go over aggressive. So I think sometimes when we go over aggressive, it's because there is a lot of emotion behind whatever it is that they are talking about. That's when they tend to get more aggressive, because the emotion plus assertiveness makes a deadly combination, and then you don't know where to draw the line, and you come across maybe very aggressive when we are emotionally very invested in that particular topic. Sometimes when the topic is not very important and you don't really care all that much, you could be passive. It's like you don't want to pick all the battles to win the war. So people choose. But I agree with Preetha that when a woman has to be assertive, she will be assertive. And when is that? Is when you are very clear. You have clarity of thought
Hmm.
about that particular issue. You know exactly what you want. You are pretty purposeful and confident. Maybe you have done enough research. Now, sometimes when we have done enough research on a particular topic and we get to speak on that, we are very confident. We have a lot of conviction. So you don't need aggression, just your conviction will speak for itself and you'll come across assertive and firm. But when you haven't done the research and you are tentative about what you yourself are speaking, maybe you don't believe in it yourself that much, then you will sound tentative and you will not come across assertive. So I just wanted to put that thought that any person can be assertive in situations and non assertive. It depends on how much they care for that particular topic.
Very well. Uh, so, Mridula, many women face challenge when scaling up in career, and I'm certain there would have been challenges for you too. How did you deal with those challenges and reach the position you are at now? We all want to know your motivating journey.
So, yeah, there are many such incidences, but I will take example of one of the toughest challenges, and This story goes back to when I was in Goldman Sachs. I was a senior leader in the HR function, and there was an expectation of the team around me that I will, maybe head that function at some point in time. And there was another person, very, very competent, who was also being positioned as head of the function. Uh, and personally for me, I have always been a talent development person at heart, and I've loved to be part of learning and development and bringing about transformation and making difference in people's lives. So the head of HR role was not really something that often excited me. And I remember once one very senior leader came and said, Mridula, you should groom yourself for the top role in HR. And at that time, I came running to my then boss and I said, I don't want to be head of HR. I want to stay in learning and development. So if I don't make an MD, that's fine. She said to me, okay, Mridula, you've said this to me today, but don't say it to anybody else. But the fact of, and then somehow before I knew it, I got into that race of making it to the head of the function. Eventually, long story short, I didn't make it to that position, and I went through tremendous amount of stress and pain, and then I was at one point in time I asked myself, and my son's schooling was going a little topsy turvy. I wasn't able to give him enough time, and his parent teacher meetings were driving me up the wall and making me feel like I'm not giving enough time to him. Maybe I should quit my job. So there was tremendous pressure at work and as well as in home. And then I just sat back and reflected one day, saying, what is it that I truly want? And in asking that very powerful question, I realized that I have been running a race that wasn't even my own. I never wanted to get to that level, but I got into the race because of other people's expectations. And that also comes from you not really knowing with clarity what is it that you want to drive, or and letting other people's aspirations, make your ambition, make your goalpost. And a goalpost that I was chasing was not even mine. And then I said, if my son, if I feel like I have missed out on my son and not given him time, I'll feel really bad. But this position, will I feel so bad? Maybe not. And then that clarity happened. And then I was able to carve out my career in the way that I did. And I moved on to start my own organization. I did pretty well in that. And then from there, opportunities opened up for Flipkart. And after that, after 2 years, I got this offer of a CEO role. And it was, I think it came because I started to really, truly follow my passion. And I think when you are passionate about something, then even when challenges come, and challenges will still come, but if you are feeling excited about what you are doing, you will find the energy and direction to be able to navigate those challenges. But if you are into a field that you don't feel so passionate about, then every little thing also becomes a struggle. So I think there are many ups and downs that one faces. The other thing that really helped me is particularly challenging situations, and this is my word of advice to everybody, my meditation practice. So every time there was a challenging moment, I would draw myself into meditation. I will take quiet time out. And that gave me a lot of inner strength. I think meditation really helps you build inner strength so that you can think more clearly, you can think more calmly, and then the situation doesn't feel as devastating as, otherwise it seems when you are more emotional. So meditation practice is one thing. Knowing your goalpost and being sure about it, knowing it with clarity is the other thing. And then, of course, depending on your own network, people, your friends and your guides and your mentors who are there in those times of needs to help you think through, or even just to listen to you or vent out. I think that those three things I feel like have really, really helped me. My friends and my family who've stood by me, knowing my goalpost, and anchoring myself in meditation and finding my inner strength.
Thank you, Mridula. This is very meaningful and insightful, and I'm sure even audience is being benefited with this. Now, I think I want to introduce a completely new subject for discussion, and that is about women health hygiene. Here, I would like to ask a few bold questions to break the taboo around women's health. So, all ladies here, should women be vocal about their mood swings during their menstruation cycle. Audience, what are your thoughts? Please leave your comments saying yes, no. And meanwhile, let's hear from Pritha. Pritha, what is it that you would like to share? What is your opinion on this?
Yeah, of course. Why not? I mean, it's a biological thing. It's a thing which is, I mean, what, why should, is there something, should I be ashamed that I am menstruating? I mean, I don't understand this. Why should I be ashamed of it? It's a natural phenomena. It's a biology within me. Everyone knows, everybody knows, and everybody knows why women menstruate. It's a it's um it is it is nothing to be of, I mean, I don't think in the current era it's a taboo anymore. Everybody is aware of it, everybody is understanding of it. And if therefore I know that I go through certain mood swings because I'm going through periods at that point of time, and my hormones plays some tricks with me, yes, it is better that I let people know, so that people are not confused. It doesn't create any kind of conflict. It doesn't lead to some kind of issues with my co-workers or people who are working with me. It is better that way, no, that I be vocal about it. And what is there to hide anyway? There's nothing to hide. So yes, my my vote goes for yes. Please, by all means, do
Very
announce,
well.
do tell people.
So I'll twist this question and ask it this way that let's say stating about your mood swing during your period's time, will it furthermore increase the bias or kind of project that why only should women be talking about their mood swing? I mean, mood swing can happen to anyone. So I would like to hear your thoughts on this, Gulshan. Your mic is on mute.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
So one part of this is that I've never had the mood swings connected with menstruation. So,
Oh, okay.
but I've had the terrible cramps, and I have to deal with that. And obviously, I come from a generation where we didn't talk about these things. And so I wouldn't even, when I was 13, 14, all I could do was just stay back and not tell anybody, and not be vocal about it. But I am so happy now that uh, women are becoming vocal about it. One friend of mine actually told me that she says, when I go into my office, I tell everybody, listen, I'm having my periods. I'm a little irritable, so please be careful with me. She said you should this thing. And then there was that thing about period leave, lots of organizations starting period leave. So then I thought about myself, oh my God, somebody like me would be so embarrassed that I have, I feel like I'm announcing to the world, okay, I need to take period leave. So I said, give an option to the women who are uncomfortable about it. And then again, somebody corrected me, no, Gulshan, this is regressive. What is the big deal about letting people know that you're having this thing? I said, yeah, I think I should change my mindset. Yeah, this is it. This is the reason I'm taking leave, and so be it. So men having mood swings, coming back to your exact question, yes, men also have mood swings, but the biological factors that are prevalent across all women, which need some consideration, are probably more, let's say, more eligible for in a higher acceptance and a better acknowledgement of it. Men can also have mood swings, but they're more likely to be stress or a psychiatric illness. But women, at least all women will, most of them will have this kind of problem during the period. So it's important as a gender specific policy.
All right. Uh, Now the last from our end, one of the very important questions I would say. Three of our panelists are ladies here, and I'm sure you will all be able to relate to that. Period cramps or other discomforts during that time of the month is quite normal. for most women. So, what would you suggest organizations to make the workplace more women sensitive? Starting from you, Pritha.
I think organizations have already gotten sensitized, and many organizations, as Gulshan rightly mentioned, they have started giving these period leaves. Now, I'm not getting into that debate because I have heard two sides of opinion on this piece from women only, that whether there should be a period leave or whether there should not be a period leave. So I'm not getting into that part. But if a woman is, so as Gulshan rightly said, it's like if somebody is going through a cramp, and I think the sensitization that the organization needs to have is, if she wants to take a leave on that particular day because she's going through that cramp, let them have that empathy and understand, and allow that, rather than questioning too much. Or even if she comes to the office and half a day she wants to just go back home because the cramp is unbearable, it should be, again, the managers or the people whom we are working with should be sensitive enough to allow that to happen, because these cramps, only a woman will understand how
Hmm.
unbearable or how painful it is. I can understand that if there is a man manager or man peers and men colleagues, they may not really understand what it means to have such cramps. But all that they can do is empathize, understand that
Hmm.
it cannot be, when it is so prevalent across all women in their lives, also their mothers, wives, daughters, when they have seen it prevalent with friends and everyone, then it is something which is actually very critical for a woman. So having that empathy is something which I feel is important. And organizations are giving these period leaves, and I think more important is to have the empathy, show empathy towards them. You may not understand this pain at all, and it is understandable, but don't question. Don't say, yeah, kya big deal. It's like any other pain. No, it is not like any other pain. So please don't try to justify anything that why you are not going to give a leave. Be empathetic towards them, and if they're asking for a half day or a leave or some place to just take rest for some time and come back, allow that. Let that happen.
All right. So, Mridula, what would be your suggestions to organizations? Few tips as to that can be make organization more women sensitive around the subject.
Yeah. I say I agree with everything that Prita said. I would also say that there are two things. One is at the infrastructure level, and the other is at the empathy level and understanding and sensitivity level that we talked about. So, at infrastructure level, some organizations are fantastic. They would have, a restroom or a medical room for women to maybe even go lie down for half an hour, 1 hour, rest, take a break, and that's very very helpful. And then they can come back once they have felt a little bit better. Hot drinks available at the time. um, Even in the restrooms, sanitary napkins available, hygienic disposable systems available. All of those things, clean and hygienic washrooms. All of that makes it almost feel like home. Maybe not that comfort, but feels better. And then it just supports women to be at office and still be able to manage it. But of course, I agree, when the pain is too much, then you take leave and go. Sensitization. So this is in terms of infrastructure level, but in terms of sensitization, I think sometimes women become women's worst enemies, and
Mm.
uh, they may not understand or say that, minimalize it completely, saying I have gone through it, all women go through it, why are you making a big deal of it? And that lack of empathy is really terrible. I was just thinking back, in my growing up days, I used to even go and play basketball when I had my chums. I was really blessed that I didn't have that many aches and pains, but sometimes I used to have those aches and pains. And once I remember, I was living with my aunt, my bua, and when I had my periods, and this was the first time it happened to me, it was really hurting, so I didn't go to office that day. And the way that she took care of me, she made me rest in the room. She brought me hot bonvita, and she got me cheese toast, and just really pampered me. And I still am sharing that story because it was just so much caring and so much love that it just made my even pain go away after a while, and I recovered much better and faster. Now we are not expecting office to take care of it like that, but I think a little bit of that sensitivity and understanding, if is there from other women, then even men around you will get sensitized to that. So organizations need to understand it is a real thing and to be more empathetic. That's what I would say.
All right. Uh, Gulshan, would you like to add some pointers here in terms of to organizations, how they can increase that emotional quotient here, the empathy element here?
Yes. So actually, yeah. Can you hear me? Yeah. So actually,
Yes.
I might be repeating a lot of what Mridula said. The infrastructural capabilities and sensitizing both men and women employees towards, because there may be women who've never had a cramp or who've never had mood swings, and it's just another ordinary day for them, right? So maybe they don't realize are unable to understand the other person's difficulty. So you need to sensitize people around this, and I think training sessions or some booklets as part of your values. If as a part of your values of the organization is empathy is built in as a value, one of the behaviors, the empathy could indicate it's okay, if someone is else is in pain or something like that, help out that person and use the empathy itself. If it becomes a part of the value, then it will come into the performance management part also. So whichever values you enforce in the organization, people will, and if you use them in your performance management sessions, people will, that behavior will start happening. If you want empathy and sensitivity included as a value, and then you will see that people are very aware of how they are appearing empathetic. So my suggestion is, include it as part of your values or competencies, whatever you want to call it. Make it a part of your performance appraisals, and give people do training sessions on empathy, and make sure every manager goes through them. So that's how you will absolutely institutionalize empathy within the organization, for not just for women, the not just the period aspect, but just any other co-worker colleagues going through any kind of pain, any kind of suffering. So build empathy as a value in your organization.
All right. So here I want to mention that this event is sponsored by Serona Hygiene. Serona is committed towards creating products and driving conversations around female hygiene problems. They provide solutions to women's unspoken problems. Uh, we have a small giveaway for all our guests. It is a Serona hamper that includes products like these, which in fact we were discussing about in terms of having pain relief patches, P-Buddy that they can carry to public clues. Please explore their websites to know more about their interesting products. And thank you, Serona, for customizing these hampers uh, for our guests. Your products are really amazing. Niladri, please feel free to share it with women in your family. Now, I would
Absolutely.
like to thank you. Uh, there are some very interesting questions that have come from audience, and I would like to ask few questions here. One question that has come is L&D is a tick mark in the box activity for a lot of companies. And according to a survey at McKinsey, 65% employees denied the contribution of learning and development in their performance improvement. What can be done and how can we change this mindset? What are your thoughts on this, Pritha?
Uh, Thank you for whosoever asked this question. I am a trainer, and this has been my question also all through to the organization. And I feel that some organizations, for some organizations, L&D is a tick in the box. I've also come across so many L&D heads who are really keen in adding value through the learning and development initiatives. So I how I look at it is, and I keep saying that, I'll give an example. When I used to be in the corporate before I became a trainer, whenever I was sent out, or whenever I will receive a nomination that, okay, you are being sent for a training program, I would immediately go to my manager and start requesting, please find some job for me. Please say that, there is something very urgent and important. Pritha has to attend it. And please stop me from going to a training program. That used to be my mindset. I would admit that I also used to be in that mindset where I felt that training programs are a waste of time. And there are multiple reasons for it. Number one, no trainer, or even if an L&D person, L&D corporate L&D person has that good intention of transforming, the biggest mistake I feel that happens is they feel that a 1 day or a 2 days immersive program is going to bring that kind of transformation. First of all, that cannot. Nobody comes with that magic wand that they will do abracadabra, gilly gilly choo, and suddenly these people are going to transform. That won't happen. L&D needs serious thought. Training does not work, I will refuse to believe. The reason why training is not working, or any kind of learning and development initiative is not working, is because people are not putting that kind of a thought behind it. Learning and development requires certain steps to be followed. You provide them knowledge, you provide them opportunities to apply that knowledge, you then ask them to come back with their observation of that knowledge. Then when they then you work further on that observation, correct them, build on them, help them getting it better. Then again you send them back for application, then again you bring them back with their observation. It's a journey. And none of the learning and development, and especially in an organization, when they set up the budget, this time the budget has already been finalized in most organizations, they put some limited number in that L&D's budget. And most of these things is, we will do, what is it, some unique programs, that this is what I've heard as a freelance trainer. This is what I've heard. What is unique that you can do? Now, what is the meaning of unique? Can you bring some interesting new model? Okay, what are you going to do with that new model? No, because then it will be something new for the participants. What have they done with the old model that was given to them? Nothing. So one, you need to give up on this idea of trying something new. The age old, there are a lot of models which throughout the ages have established themselves. They have given success. These are all successful models that have been used by people. They have driven success. But the point is, till the time you are not going to create a system to help your participants, or make your participants apply the learning, the transformation is not going to happen. And then people like me, who would always dislike or avoid going to a training room, or most of the people who are inside the training room will feel like a hostage who have been pushed into a training room. Very few are actually real learners who come to the training room with the real intention that, okay, I want to learn something and I want to grow, I want to develop. They are very few. Most of them have been pushed into it. And it is the process, the entire learning development, the way the initiatives are planned, that entire planning needs to get some serious consideration and thought, is what I feel.
Thank you, Pritha. This is insightful. There's one more question that has come. When women want to get back to work after a sabbatical, there are many technology advancements and adoptions that they have missed out on, causing them to be left behind. Should companies invest in these new age technologies, trainings for women, or are they expected to learn on their own before jumping back into their careers? Now, this is a very interesting question. Let's take a opinion from you, Niladri. What are your thoughts on this?
Just a moment. I'm just going through the question. In just a minute. See, I would not kind of expect them to learn. To be very honest, I am presently going to kind of onboard an employee, a women employee who has been on sabbatical for 2 years for my team, my team's as a talent acquisition manager. And what I understand is if you have the will, kind of if you have the drive to kind of learn and be as relevant as you were 2 years before, learning is always on the blocks, is what I feel. So if the technology advancement has been too erratic in terms of the field they have been working in, then I'm pretty confident that a company should have invested time and schedule as well as the budget to get them up to speed. Even if it is people are not returning from sabbatical, or for anybody for that matter, but if somebody who is working in a very, relevant, very less tech relevant kind of domain, then I think learning on the blocks is also possible. Work closely with your manager, try to understand how the tools work, how the technology has advanced since the time you were not available, and then kind of use that in your own day-to-day job and learn through it. But the companies obviously should keep a budget aside, because if you are already they've given somebody who was in a sabbatical chance to kind of come back to the job full time and work for the benefit of your company, right? At the end of the day, it's all about profitability. You are kind of, even if you're giving them an opportunity to come back from sabbatical, it's only because you think that that person is going to contribute to the overall profits of the company, and you would want to give all the tools and the trainings which are required to achieve that. So yes, they should have a limited budget available for them to kind of be enrolled into small training programs which can actually help them be on top of their game once they join after a sabbatical.
All right. I think in interest of time, I'll have to limit here. There are some more interesting questions, but I'm not certain if I'll be able to ask all. Uh, that was a very nice discussion, and I hope you all enjoyed it as much as I did. Unfortunately, we are time bound. Otherwise, I would have asked all these questions. And thank you, audience, for sharing such lovely questions and your interest. I hope we didn't bore you guys. Thank you, everyone, for your time. Thank you, audience, for participating actively. The winner for Amazon voucher will be displayed just shortly after this program. And thank you for sharing some interesting questions once again, audience. Thank you once again. Let's meet very, very soon.
Parul, I have just a quick suggestion. The questions that have not been answered, if you could take a screenshot of it and put it on a LinkedIn post or share with us, we could respond to them on LinkedIn.
Very well.
I would not
Yes,
want to get
we'll
a
do that.
question unanswered. I'm sure all the panelists would love to respond as well.
Absolutely. Yes, Mridula, we'll do that.
Thank you. I really enjoyed it. Thank you all.
Thank you so much.
Thank
It
you.
was
Thank you,
lovely
Parul,
being
so
here.
much for moderating the session.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And one quick thing I want to add on the Sirona products. I am aware of Buddy. I haven't used it, but it was, yeah, what I think of it is a godsend. I am petrified of using washrooms during my travel, especially by road on car. And because just because the bathrooms are unhygienic, I mean, I will cancel the travel at times and say, no, I'll come some other way. So I think I'm very happy to get that hamper now that I can try it out. Thank you.
So, thank you. Thank you to Sirona as well to be very mindful of in terms of, uh, designing these products, considering what women really go through and thinking about women in terms of when they were actually designing all this. So thank you once again to Sirona as well.